for us, our new game is very heavy on the single player. I mean, we have a multiplayer component which is fun, but it's much different than what we've done in the past, and we wanted that to stand apart from our other titles. Yeah, it is definitely, like I said before, a fine line that we all walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, I think, I'll say, like, I probably play more single-player games than multiplayer personally, and I think it was a little bit of a switch for Insomniac with going from Ratchet and Spyro before that, which were just single-player games, to Resistance, and I think with each game we spend more and more resources on multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a way to keep. I think that's a good way to capture the hardcore, actually, because even people who really like single player or like playing through a story on co-op, I think, I know that there are people out there who play through our Resistance, 5, 10 times, but I think most people who are going to keep playing a game are going to be doing that in multiplayer and who want that experience to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And from a purely mercenary standpoint, I think you need something that continues that experience, because if you have a game that's just a 5-hour single player,
mm-hmm.
people are going to rent it. They're going to buy it and take it back to GameStop after the weekend,
mm-hmm.
and that hurts. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think that's really financially viable anymore.
And it's not good for the industry at all. Maggie?
Yeah, that's made things pretty tough. I mean,
mm-hmm.
it seems like in this console generation especially, it's become sort of a winner-takes-all, where more and more players see what their friends are playing on Xbox Live or
mm-hmm.
PlayStation Network, anyway. And then they jump in with their friends and then tell their friends to buy that game, and everybody buys that game because that's the one they know that their friends are going to be playing. Yeah. But I'm kind of surprised that I feel like the poor, unsupported, unspoken of co-op is a little missing from the discussion, because that's more and more games are pushing that frontier, and that's a new and interesting way to do storytelling, especially like Gears, where you're both playing,
mm-hmm.
One of the characters in the story.
Yeah, I think
or
Borderlands.
Portal,
yeah.
even Portal 2 in co-op was a really new and interesting way to play through it. Now, does that get you away from rentals? I don't know. I think really multiplayer is the only one or massively multiplayer
mm-hmm.
is the only way to get away from that. It's hard to say that is single player or multiplayer more important. They both, they both end up with people working on both of them if
right.
they're going to be in your game. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the multiplayer ended in some kind of strange position, because sometimes it's used as a tool, as you were saying, to fight against rentals and piracy. But I think at the end of the day, you also have to ask yourself, where does the multiplayer fit in my project? Is it going to bring anything to what I want to achieve with this game? And also, is working on this multiplayer actually is going to make the single player worse, because you won't have the same time to work on it, you won't have the same focus, you won't have the same money to work on a single player, because obviously if you make a multiplayer, you have to do it, so you need to invest some time on it and everything. So I think it's just also a question of asking what you want to do in the end. Do you want to achieve a great single player game? Do you want to achieve a great multiplayer game? Do you want to do both? And if you want to do both, do you have the focus and the time and the mean to do it, basically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could talk about that all day, because there's obviously we've seen some really good success stories with downloadable only online shooters. That's all they do. I mean, very little story. I mean, Section 8 Prejudice has been out for a while. It has a single player component, but it's a downloadable game that's focused on multiplayer, and it must be very interesting for you guys with all the options and all the things that are out there, how to prioritize what you have in front of you and make something unique. But it brings us to our next topic, which is about the genre itself. We're living in a really interesting age with new types of control inputs and everything else in terms of how we interact with interactive entertainment. What do you think are going to be the things that truly evolve the first-person shooter genre? Because, I mean, it's stayed relatively the same. I mean, obviously, once we went online, I'll never forget, playing the original Tribes online or Unreal Tournament. It was just amazing. But beyond that, where are we going with this in terms of first-person shooter? What's the next big thing? Anybody?
Co-op.
Co-op?
I think it's co-op, yeah. I think, I know, I personally like playing Gears. I spent way more time playing Horde mode than I did multiplayer. Games like Borderlands. I think personally, I think just going home, like, I don't always want the stress of having to like compete with people to play with friends and socialize. You know, sometimes I just want to go home and have a single player-ish experience, but still play with friends. And because I do think there's something really enjoyable about having that shared experience. And I think I know Mackie can't talk about Call of Duty, but I can. So I think I think that in Modern Warfare 2, I think the asymmetric special ops missions they had where one guy was in the helicopter and the other guy was on the ground. They had the other mission with the guy in the AC-130 and the other guy on the ground. And I thought those were fascinating. I am shocked that I haven't seen anything else like that since then. I totally different experiences, really interesting dynamics between the power player in the air who can't actually win the mission and the guy on the ground who's way weaker, but he's the only one who can get over the finish line. And I would love to see stuff like that involves even more players or just takes that farther. And I think that's a great direction that I'd love to see shooters go.
You know, for me, because I get this question a lot, like, what's the future of first-person gaming?
Generic question, is that what you said, Tony?
No, it's not a generic question, but like, you know, especially popular press, they love that question. You know, it's a hardcore press. They're like, "What's John doing?" You know, for me, the social aspect of gaming is huge. I mean, look at Quakecon. It's always been there, and you know, more and more people are online connected. I mean, heck, there are more people playing Farmville than Call of Duty, which is sad. But the thing is in the future, what would be awesome, and I don't know how we would do this, but you know, a game developer that creates a game but never actually finishes it, or it just sets the blocks in motion, and you have a single player experience, but things in your world affect. I mean, actions that you do in your world affect the world that your friends are in, and then together, you know, as everyone plays through it, the world changes, and then eventually, you know, the end is there, but it's based on the choices and the decisions and the actions that you know, everyone together has made independently. And
so a broader social type of component.
And then just tie that into the social aspect. I mean, I think that we'll find more and more people, you know, games cross different platforms, you know, from mobile to web-based. You know, you play something on your console, but it's connected to everything, and you get beep updates on your phone if somebody's found something in their game that affects your game, and I think that's a great direction that someone could take.
I couldn't agree more. People complain. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a Mass Effect nut, and in Mass Effect 2, people complained a lot about the mining that people enjoy the mining in Mass Effect 2, where you're mining for all the materials. No, I said that should be something that's an app on your phone that, you know, half of these people would be doing right now while they're listening to the, you know.
I've never understood why you can't
Would our lives be
gather
better?
medals in WoW on your phone.
Yeah.
Like,
You know.
yeah.
So social and bringing things out. What about you in terms of the future, not only of this genre, the industry in general? Where are we heading with things?
Well, I mean, I think in console world, we've been on the same technology for like 5 years or so. So everything kind of becomes a search for what can you do with the existing technology. It's hard to guess what we're going to be able to do with future technology, since personally, at least, I haven't seen it yet. But the Kinect, I was really excited about Kinect when I saw it at E3. I guess, was it 2 years ago before it came out, or a year ago? Anyway, and I think that controlling a game with the least amount of things required to learn is cool, but it's not quite there yet because it didn't ship with the original hardware and didn't ship as a zero cost for the developer. With the Kinect right now, it uses up some of the memory and some of the CPUs, so you would have to sort of develop 2 games if you were going to really try to take advantage of it. But I mean, it depends on how far forward you're looking, but I would say that there's going to be a time in the future when you're adjusting the volume of your TV with your fingers and doing iPod motions on things.
Yeah.
Your CPU will be so powerful it'll understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not thinking that far, but that's what I'm looking forward to. You know,
Absolutely.
maybe 5, maybe 10 maybe less.
I think when the genre first came out, I mean, we were all fascinated with just the visceral ability, you know, what happened on screen and shooting people and just seeing things, you know, how in-depth and immersive it was. And now you're talking more, you know, with your game, and we've seen games like BioShock and things that are much more story-driven. And is that where you see this genre specifically going to be able to tell the stories that we expect out of other genres and have that level of maybe emotional depth to them? Or is it more of a technological barrier that we're facing?
I don't know if the full genre is going to go there because it's obviously different experience, and I don't think one experience is better than the other. I mean, different players like to play different things. Like if you take Call of Duty or BioShock or I don't know, Thief or whatever, they are like very different games doing different things and doing it very well. So I don't know if the genre is going to just lock into one precise style. I hope not, because otherwise it will be just kind of boring if you just have only one kind of first-person shooter. But if I had a wish for the future, at least I don't know exactly where the future is going, but if I had a wish, I wish that Microsoft and Sony could add a little bit memory in their console.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, memory. We always just say more memory, please.
Yeah, but it's just that we are at a stage.
The Xbox almost shipped with 256, so at least
Yeah.
How
thank
much
God
do you
they
want?
went to 512.
How much do you want? What would be perfect for you? Like not crazy.
Maybe we can
Not
start
crazy.
with a gig at
A
least.
gig.
Yeah,
Not a gig.
that's what the dev
More
kits
than
have.
That gets you in trouble.
Yes.
Right.
It's
Yes.
just that it's getting to a point where it's kind of strange because the power of the console is very high, but you can't really use it as you want because it's just the memory is so low that you would like to make a world that is very lifelike, where you can interact with a lot of subjects and everything, and suddenly, oh, I don't have any more memory. And how can I only have 256 memory in 211? It's kind of strange.
So is there a consensus that that's probably the most limiting thing? Just not being able to, I mean, you've got the ideas here, it's just getting them out there. Is that